welcome for another special of the Ab Brunch, your Sunday rendezvous with the hockey coach, your coach Francis directly for the beautiful country of Thailand. And we have back, she's back with us after she missed a couple of weeks. Miss Karen Hans, she's in the house directly from Montreal. Welcome back, Karen. Thanks to be with us this morning.
Thank you very much. It's nice to be back. COVID did try to kick my ass, but I survived, and here I am.
Glad to having you. I know we keep in touch a little bit, but I know this time, I think you said to me, this is the second time you could COVID, but this time was a little bit harder for you, right?
Yes, the second time I got it. Both times I got it at the Bell Center. The first time was at the draft in July, and then early November at a game, I guess. And yeah, this time I had like 48 hours of solid fever, shivering, sweating all at once, fun times. And 3 weeks on, I'm still really knackered and I need to take naps during the day. Fun. For someone who's used to sleeping like 5 hours a night and being top shape, this is weird.
Well, we're really, really grateful having you aboard this morning. But unfortunately, we lost a co-host. It looked like the health is a problem around the Ab Bronx the morning because you left a couple of weeks ago. Now, this morning, Marco is really under the water this morning. Couldn't be with us, but I know you're going to do a great job with us. Going to talk about the Montreal Canadiens, what happened last week and what upcoming. And we'll maybe catch up with you a little bit, when the last time he was with us. We did maybe a report card, but maybe talking about different subject we have. Maybe you have some news about maybe possibly with the Montreal Canadiens around, and maybe have a time at the end talking about a little bit the hockey for the women are back now on the ice, right?
Yeah, they're back. The Montreal Force has started its season. The PWHPA has had a second showdown. This time it was over in Kelowna, BC. And there was a rivalry series as well. So yeah, there's a lot of things happening on that side of things.
And if I can recall it, I could be wrong here, but because I saw this, I think TVA Sport carried on a couple of games for this team, no?
Yeah, they did, but sometimes it's just online, so you can't actually record it. So,
Okay.
you have to watch the online feed, but, it's a step in the right direction, I guess. That's,
Awesome.
obviously.
Well, let's start
Yeah.
it with talking about the warm up at the beginning of the show. We do all every week. So let's see the intro and gonna be back right away. Like we do at the warm up of the Ab Brunch, we talk about reviewing what happening for the Montreal Canadiens the week. They played 3 games last week for the week number 8 already. 2 months already inside of this season 2022-2023. And they got 1-2-0 Karen last week with a 3 game. I'm going to show to you right here. They play again the San Jose Sharks, shutout 4-0. Then they win, surprisingly for me, 2-1. And I think that game does not deserve to win. And then they play yesterday again Edmonton. They lost that one. I think they played better compared to the the Calgary, but they lost by the score of 5-3. And that gave them now a record of 12-11-1, 70 goal versus 83 minus differential 13. This is a little bit a red flag. I'm sure you're going to talk about this. And then they are 6th in the division of the Atlantic, and they are now 21 in the standing in NHL. So a little bit, talk a little bit more about what you saw for the last 2 games for the Montreal Canadiens overall.
Well, as you said, I think they had no business winning the game in Calgary. That's really Jake Allen pulling a rabbit out of his hat there and winning the game, which came, at a very good time for him because there was chat of giving more ice time to Montembeault, and Allen responded by well, he was almost magical in that game. He played like he was a man possessed, and if it wasn't for him, they wouldn't have won that game. I mean, it was just ridiculous. As for San Jose, man, was that boring. That game
Yeah.
was really, really boring to watch. And yesterday, yes, they played much better than they did in Calgary. They would have deserved a better ending if you're just looking at the 5-on-5 game, but you can't give Edmonton's two-headed monster so many power plays and expect to come out on top. You just can't do that, and it's a shame. But it was the lack of discipline in the end that cost them the most. I mean, Jakai, I love his gritty play. I love how physical he can be, but he's got to be careful. Refs have got their eyes on him. They know that this guy kind of plays to the limit, and everyone on the ice knows it as well. I mean, the tripping call he got on McDavid, I mean, McDavid knew exactly who was behind him, so it's not hard to sell a penalty for a player, especially when you know who's chasing you. And that Jakai penalty started a roll of 6 consecutive penalties to the Habs, and really that was the Canadiens' undoing. So yeah.
What about the penalty for Suzuki?
Jeez, I mean, no big deal, right? We didn't need penalty killers at that stage. It's fine. He can travel with the puck and throw it. Yeah, I don't think a single ref would have let that one go. That was so obvious. I don't know what he was thinking, but he can't really blame Nick for one little lapse in concentration, I guess. But yeah, that's live and learn kind of thing. I don't think he'll do that ever again.
You're absolutely right about this. Every day I do a poll inside of my YouTube channel, everything. And then my question last night was this, and that's what I want to hear what you think about, because I got a lot of response. I did not think about this, but I asked her, okay, what happening now with Jordan Edmundson? Do he get suspension or not? 0 game, 1 game, 2 game, or maybe more? But I want to see what do you think? Because now a lot of people respond, oh, it was not big deal, was not bad, like the people should think this way, everything like that. But what is your thinking about your thought about the Jordan Edmundson? First is action again, is that Hyman, and then secondly, what do you expect if the NHL is going to give him a suspension or not?
To be honest, I was really surprised to see that move for Edmundston. I mean, people can say what they want, but at the end of the day, it was a cross check to the head right by the board. That's just reckless play, and you don't expect that kind of veteran player, a leader on this team, to go out and do that. I mean, what are you doing, man? Especially since, at the start of the season, the concern was that the blue line was going to be too young. They were going to lack experience with all the injuries and blah, blah, blah. And yet, the blue line was actually playing better before the vets came back, which is kind of amazing. So, yeah, I mean, Edmundson yesterday just put his team in real trouble. I mean, you don't go down 1 D-man playing with 5 D-men against a fast, aggressive, and, offensive team like the Oilers without running into problems. So, yeah, that was a really... I don't think I can call it anything else than a big, big, big brain fart, to be honest. And I don't know if there'll be supplementary discipline, but I could definitely see why they could be. I mean, at the end of the day, they're trying to get the hits to head out of the game. So if you're going to put your stick and just put it on someone's head and crush it on the boards, I mean, you're just asking for trouble, aren't you? So,
You're
yeah.
absolutely right about that. First of all, I think it was his second crush checking. When I mean before they hit the head, he crushed already Hyman in the back, and then after that, he crushed on the head. The biggest problem for me, well, not for me, but usually when you get a 5-minute game misconduct, it's not looking good after that. Usually you get a airing, and then could be 1 or 2 games. They've pretty much been on their consistency. Josh Anderson, Slafkovsky, both of them was boarding, I understand, and one of them was really hurt. But again, I think I can't. I tried to read it. I'm not see yet, but I think I would be surprised he get at least a minimum 1 game for that gesture. Again, you have to be responsible. You have no reason, like you said, to hit the head of Zach Hyman, unfortunately. And it was a bad penalty at the moment because I think Montreal was already, I believe, a 5-4 on that. And then they become a 5-3, and then they score, and then they get another for 3 more minutes on that one. Then you get another penalty, another 5-3. It was really difficult for the Montreal to get out the second period with so many penalties. But yeah, you're absolutely right about that. I know usually we have a plan, Karine. We talk before the show. We talk what we should talk about this, but because Marko is not there, I'm going to swing you left and right. So don't be surprised. I know you'll be fine. But because you talk about Edmundson and you talk about the veteran comeback, the D struggle, everything like that. maybe I know he played 7 games yesterday. Mike Madison, what do you think so far? Sen is returning with the Montreal Canadian. Overall, is his play?
Well, he's definitely a very mobile defenseman. He can move the puck, he can take it up ice and all that, but sometimes he doesn't know when to stop. He tries to do too much and gets caught. But yeah, I can see why they traded Petrie for him. I mean, he's a good player to have around, I think, but he's yet to hit, his normal stride. I think he's still playing catch up. It's really hard when you miss the start of the season to just hit the ground running and come back. You're not yet in game shape and you're playing catch up with everyone. And I think that's still the case for Edmundston as well. Even though he's been back a while, he's still playing catch up. I mean, uh, at first they tried to play Edmundson and Madison together, and boy, was that ugly, wasn't it? They kind
Yep.
of had to split them up. And so yeah, you just can't take two guys who haven't played for ages and expect that they'll be performing well. I like Madison. I think it was a good trade, but I don't think we've seen the best of him just yet. So I'm gonna preach for patience there.
You're absolutely right. I'm really into analytics. Are you surprised he start only? I think it was 8 or 13% of his shift on the offensive side.
Um, I can't say that I've noticed that actually. I'm sorry.
That's all right. No, don't worry about that. Um, it's really interesting the decision. Like they don't want him to start on the offensive side. Is it because, like you mentioned, like he's mobile? They know they're going to move out the puck out every time like that because he start most of the time on defensive zone or on neutral zone.
That could be part of the reason, I guess, because they're thinking they won't have a problem launching the attack with him on the ice. They'll be able to execute the zone cleanly. That could be a possibility. Um, Aside from that, what could I say? I'm not sure how Robida decides who goes on the ice when. I'm just glad he decided to split up Edmondson and Madison because that wasn't working.
Yep. Earlier you said Edmondson struggled with Madison. It's funny because he took Caden Cooley to stabilize the pairing for the Montreal Canadiens at some point because Cooley can put him on the right, on the left, and he make the players beside him better. Whatever he played with Savard for many games, and now he played with Edmondson, and Edmondson he less struggle versus with Mike Madison. And I think Coley is really the big piece of the puzzle for the Montreal Canadiens since the beginning. Of course, he will make mistake. Of course, he's a rookie. But yesterday, I don't know if you remember, but how he stopped Connor McDavid. I think
Oh,
it was
good.
during
Yes,
the
that was beautiful to see. Actually, he manhandled McDavid. I mean, McDavid was going to the net with purpose, and Goulet was like, "No trouble. You're Connor McDavid. I don't care. I'm Caden Goulet. Let me sit you down." It was just like, wow.
honestly,
And
this is maybe the best play of the year. I was shocked to see this, and it was like a veteran at 28, 29 years old stop and McDavid like that. It's not happened a lot. Usually, a rookie is going to get burned by McDavid, but not this time. Really impressed
not
by Caden
going.
Cooley, Karins in the beginning of the season. This week, before we move on to the stud of the week, Jake Allen play all the 3 game and he did better what we expect because he really struggled in November with 4 points something goal again average and a less of 0.875 against save percentage, and I think it was 371 I think, or maybe 3-4-1 during November. But what do you think about overall for the week of Jake Allen?
Well, to be honest, at the start of the week, I was pretty much on Team Montalbo and thinking, okay, it's time to give Montalbo more of a chance here because Allen is kind of blowing it. But, he answered the critics with a beautiful game in Calgary, and Marty St. Louis is adamant. He's sticking to his guns. Jake Allen is his number one, and that's going to stay that way. I wasn't surprised to see him back in net yesterday against Edmonton because, he played so well in Calgary. And then on Monday and Tuesday, there's a back to back. So they're going to split the work on that day for sure, on those games for sure. But yeah, I think Montalbo's, is earned the chance to play more. We've seen that Allen has performed best in the NHL when he's the second goalie, not when he's the first goalie. And let's face it, on a good contending team, Jake Allen is not a number one goaltender. But right now, the Canadians are not trying to contend. They're not really trying to win. They're just trying to, improve. So it's just fine for now to have Allen be the man because it's not about winning for this year. But I think he's getting older. He's not gonna stick around forever. And I think it would be a good idea to give Montembeault more of a look, to be honest, and see what he really has. I don't think Montembeault has the potential to be a number one goaltender in the NHL. I really don't think that. But I think he could be a very good backup. And, why not give him more ice time now and test him and see what he really is made of when we can? It's not about winning this year, it's about developing. So develop Montembeault as well. You might as well. And meanwhile, Kevin Primo is not actually having a great start of the season either in Laval. So you've got nothing to lose. You might as well fully assess Montembeault and see what it can give you. So I'm not quite sure why Jake Allen is getting a lot of leeway right now. A lot of he's on a really long leash, to be honest.
Yeah, I
But
was really surprised to him yesterday. I was expect Montembeault to be between the pipe, Montembeault Saturday, and then possibly Allen Monday, and then back again Tuesday with Montembeault. We won't talk about Montembeault in the next couple of minutes. We have a question for you, but we do at the end of the review of the week. We always ask you and or Marco who stood out of the week for the Montreal Canadiens during the 3 game, or maybe a particular moment of the week, or a particular player, or maybe could be a special area of the team, whatever it is. So, what do you believe it was that stood out of the week?
What stood out for me, I think I've got to go back to that kid and Goulet play yesterday. We spoke about it. He was very impressive handling McDavid, but it's been that way all through the season. And even when he makes a mistake, he finds a way to be impressive in the way he fixes it. I don't know if you remember in the second frame yesterday, at one stage he joined into the attack and then he lost his footing, fell over on the ice just as his teammate was going to feed him the puck. It took him about half a second to bounce right back up and regain possession of the puck, allowing the Habs to keep the pressure in the Edmonton zone. I mean, this kid, even when he messes up, he fixes it himself in seconds. It's really impressive. He's got the poise, he's got the confidence. He doesn't look like a rookie out there at all. And I think everyone acknowledged that. I mean, St. Louis has started a rotation system with his defenseman, his rookie defenseman, but at no time was there, any thought of Goulet joining in that rotation because he's ready. He's an NHL material right now. He's ready and he can handle anything they throw his way. So I think that's really who stood out for me this week. Yeah.
And I still believe we do not see his offensive side of him. I could he shows some flash, but I believe he can do more. Not because he doesn't want to. It's just like where he is right now. But I think he has something else, another gear under him. At some point, he's going to not be surprised. This kid can score 5, 7, 8, 9 goals per season with the Montreal Canadiens. And he can get a 30, 35 point. I'll be honest with you, I was never expect he's going to be a solid defenseman, maybe A minus. You know what I mean? Like a first pairing defenseman, solid, can compare with a good quarterback beside him. But I think he could be a really good player for Montreal for the future, definitely.
Yeah, and there's another level for sure. He's ready. He's ready for the NHL now, but he's still a rookie. I'm sure we'll see another level, if not 2 or 3 other levels to his game. I mean,
It was
it was a
really
brilliant.
impressive last season with during the playoff at the WHL. Like he scored like, well, I don't know, like 25 point, 27 games, something like that, 8 goals during the playoff. I think he was the player of the MVP of the playoff, by the way, in the WHL
Yeah,
last season. Cody, for me, I have to go with fun option here this week, and first I'm going to go with Sean Monahan. First, the way he was, people was talk about him. Come from the Calgary fans, from the Darryl Sutter, from his ex teammates, and the way he played. He had 4 points in the last 3 games, and then I think he have 6 points, 7 points in the last 7 games overall. He showed a lot of character this week, and he played with a kind of injury on the right foot. We don't know the gravity. We don't know what it's all about. Honestly, Montreal didn't explain
Mm.
anything. But for me, I did not have no news. I know he said he's not going to stop to play, but again, he showed up a lot for the Montreal Canadiens. Percentage face-off was great this week, and I have to go with him. I think he played solid against Calgary, and he helping my second point of this is because I want to talk about Slafkovsky because Slafkovsky moved on that line, and with Monahan, he helped Monahan helping Slafkovsky. Slafkovsky play better with Monahan and with Anderson. I can never see Slafkovsky since the beginning of the season. I think not yesterday, but the game before that, again, Calgary, Slafkovsky have an amazing, great game. So I just want to, I know we talk about this, maybe talk a little bit more about Slafkovsky during the week, or maybe his place, and he played with Monahan and Anderson.
I think you're bang on about Monahan. He's been great since the start of the year. People didn't give him enough credit because he was playing with whoever on his wings, and people were moaning that he wasn't getting any points. Well, look who he was saddled with. I mean, this guy has been giving us all the whole time, and now that he's with Anderson and Slafkovsky, this is a very very big bodied line with three players who have offensive instinct. And it's great to see. Um, Slafkovsky, yeah, I think his best game of the season was in Calgary. Actually, I mean, it's a shame that Brendan Gallagher is injured, but if that's what it took to give Slafkovsky an addition with a real offensive line, then you gotta you gotta take your opportunities. And that one, Slafkovsky really grabbed it with both hands. I think. I mean, he did have a turn with Dvorak. Was it the week before? And it wasn't as good as it was this week with Monahan. Quite simply because Monahan's better player than Dvorak. He's got more jump to his game. He's got better hockey IQ. It's so obvious when Monahan's on the ice. He's an impressive player, and that makes Slafkovsky shine really well. So yeah, Slav has been impressive as well thanks to that new positioning. But I'm just curious to see what happens when injured players come back. Did he earn himself a permanent gig? Are we gonna see him go back to the fourth line? I hope he stays up. I mean, this year's about development. Give the kid some time to develop because Jeff Gorton, I think I can't remember who he was interviewed with, but he did say that eventually Kirby Dock's gonna go back to center. Maybe not now. We don't know when, but he will. And I think when he'll go back there at center is it'll be because Slafkovsky is ready to step up and be the big body on the top line. So
Great point here for sure. Talking
there
about the injuries, let's go with a bit of app news update injuries. First of all, we have a two player I want to mention to you. The Montreal Canadiens announced uh, Wednesday, I believe, Mike Hoffman has been on the ER now for Montreal Canadiens. And then before the games for the day of the Flame, Montreal announced Gallagher is out with a day to day. But they said this for 1 week with Hoffman day to day. But look like it's not big, but it's still uncomfortable for what we heard from Bazu. I believe he said he saw him and walking. He was not comfortable walking. So we'll be interesting how long he's going to be out. But they are really the two players are for Montreal Canadiens. Of course, Jonathan Drouin is already on the ER or long-term ER. But otherwise, without any other injury, I was a little bit concerned about Caden Cooley when he got a shot at the end of the game against the Calgary Flame. He go back on the bench, and David Savard during the game today, he got like uncomfortable with the right hands, got a shot during the PK. But look, he finished the game with Montreal Canadiens. That was really the news we have about the injury for the Montreal Canadiens. I want to bring to you because they have something happening Thursday. So they know Mike Hoffman, he was on the ER. They left with 12 forward. It's always a risk when you go on the trip for 4 games with only the minimum forward. And then they announced 12 hours later, Pitlick, you have to come back and now join the team called up. And he shot maybe 40 minutes before the game starts. He was not ready to play the game. Unfortunately, he did not sleep all night anyway. He was very tired. And do you think this is a lack of preparation or a lack of management or something? The Montreal did not prepare this very well.
Um, well, I think that's a consequence of the kind of roster jam we've got in Montreal right now. I mean, because they're carrying 8 LT defensemen, they've got less forwards available. And, they went on the road with Gallagher. Gallagher is a warrior. He's not going to say, yeah, I'm not going to play this trip. He's going to be like, I'll be all right. I want to play. I want to play. I want to play. But, everyone's got their limit. And, when Gallagher had to pull out at the last minute, then it puts you in a bit of a jam. I don't think that Hoffman would have been put on injured reserve if they didn't have to clear roster spot to be able to call back Rem Pitlick. But that just goes to show that carrying 8 LT defensemen is not great. You've got 2 extra Ds, but you have no extra forward. That's not the right way to go, and it just goes to show that big decisions will have to be made sooner rather than later, because that's not a sustainable way to operate, really. I mean, they may do with Weidman as a 7th D in Calgary. He also played on the fourth line at first before being used as a D. But I think I've said in previous shows that I don't like playing with 7 defensemen. I think it screws up everyone's time on ice up front, because you've got 2 forwards who don't have a third one to complete the line, and everything's up in the air. And I don't think that St. Louis is very strong with on-game adjustments yet. I don't see him, mixing up his lines when there's a need to do it. He's not doing that on the fly as well as the best coaches in the league. So yeah, I think they need to sort this out and always have a spare forward with them. Otherwise, they're gonna run into trouble.
Awesome. We almost hit the half of the show already, Karen. Hopefully, you're going to survive for the second half of the show. We're going to put you on the bit on the hot seat right now for the couple of more minutes. So what I want to talk about is Montreal Canadiens big decision. I'm talking about Jeff Gordon, Ken Hughes, and Martin St. Louis. So I'm going to flip back and forth with you about different question, and maybe you can give us some answer. And when I'm talking about the big decision, I want to start with Slafkovsky. We talk about him. We know he played with Monahan, and everything like that. He's still hard. Played 14 minutes yesterday. Maybe it was his highest, or second highest more minute in the beginning of the season with Montreal. He have already 4 goals and 2 assists, and I understand what he did. But do you feel, for the benefit of Slafkovsky, to go to the World Junior Championship, or you should stay with the Montreal Canadiens, because he just opened the door, and I really pay attention. He said that what happening when Gallagher's coming back, and what happening with Hoffman's coming back, and what happening to, honestly, to Slafkovsky. So for the next month, do you think it's a benefit, or it should be not to go the World Junior Championship?
Well, I'm not going to be able to give you a categorical answer on that. My answer is going to be it depends. If you're going to stick him back on the fourth line, then yes, by all means, send him to the World Junior Championship. If you're ready to take the next step and, leave him on the second line with Monahan and Henderson, then keep him there. He's going to learn a lot more by playing in the NHL than by dominating at the World Junior Championship. I don't think this kid needs to go dominate the World Junior Championship to build up his confidence. He's got confidence. I mean, he's oozing confidence, whatever he's doing on the ice. He doesn't look like a guy who's doubting himself. So I don't think he needs that confidence build up. I mean, look at Shane Wright. Shane Wright has been barely playing with the Kraken this year. They send him back to the AHL for conditioning stint, and clearly he's gonna go. He needs it. He needs that, that confidence boost. But Slafkovsky is in a different category. So for me, if you're able to give him, a lot more minutes in an offensive role, keeping in Montreal. If you're going to stick him back with Armia and Evans on the fourth line, then no. So send him to the World Junior Championship. So it depends is my answer, as boring
No,
as that is.
no. First of all, Karen, I'll be honest with you. This you nailed it again, and you cannot be said better, because you said exactly. If you follow the progression of the kid, his benefit right now is to keep him with Monahan, and I think that would be the best way for him to continue. And listen, Amia, Pesada, Pitlick, Jake Evans, 4 of them are 0 goal this season. And 4 of them, I'm pretty sure 3 of them are not going to return with Montreal next season. So why not to focusing on Slafkovsky is play a 12, 13, 14 minute. And nothing wrong if you're winning 3-2 at the end of the game or at the third line. You don't want to be worried about Slafkovsky. Put Armia for the 2-3 shift. It's Slafkovsky. It's not a big deal at the end of the day. But I think at that moment they should let him Slafkovsky. And that's the reason you're absolutely right. He should not return to the World Junior Championship if he's not play, if he continues to play with Monahan about that. But that opened up for the another earlier, and I know tonight we don't have the time, but I still believe the project of Ken Hughes is to bring back Kirby Doc as a center at some point. And another thing I would say why, because they have too many winger is coming from Montreal in the future to have need a spot at some point. So and they don't have if they trade money in. We're going to talk about this a little bit later. So I think you're absolutely right about Slafkovsky. I think this all depends, but if they go in the right direction, they keep him at the third line. You have no reason to go there. They give him 12, 13, 14 minutes. It's the best for him when the Montreal plays a power play. I think you're absolutely right about this. So talking about the big decision, that's another one happening right now. And is a bit concerned. Is it possibility he win it or not one spot? I'm talking about the Montreal Canadiens keep the D rotation or not. And I'm talking about Jordan Harris and, of course, Kovacevic. 2 of them are really back and forth. And they have Arbor Jacky is a part of that little bit with the rotation. At that moment, do you keep this way or not?
I think if you want to keep them all in the NHL, yes, you do go on with the rotation because you don't want to sit any of them for a significant amount of time. You know, a young player needs to develop, and he's not going to do that if he's not playing. If you don't want to keep doing the rotation system, then you send one of them back down to Laval so that he can play a lot of minutes. You don't let them sit. But I think Saint Louis has been quite clear that he intends to keep going this way to keep the rotation going. So as sad as it is for Chris Weidman, I see him being put on waivers and sent to the AHL eventually because clearly this team wants to wants to go with the young guns. I mean, there's no point in sending the guys down to the AHL really right now. They're doing well at the NHL level. They're learning well as well. And this year's not about winning, as I've said numerous times already. So yeah, I would keep going with the rotation, even if there's a lot of media talk. I mean, I've heard who was it? I think was it Gaston Gingras on RDS, I think, who said stop messing with their confidence. Stop this rotation crap. Just focus on the guys who are there to stay and blah, blah, blah. I mean, Kovacevic is not in the plan. We don't need him. Send him down. But you see, I'm not sure that's the case. He's doing well. He's a right-handed D. They can use that right now. So, give the guy a chance. So, yeah, I think the rotation system is there to stay for now, at least. Yeah. What about you?
Yeah, sorry about this. I'll be honest with you. I was always concerned about the Jacky skating, everything like that. I think it was not ready. I know they make, he scored goal. He scored 4 goals over there. But overall, he's okay, but it's not great. His lack of the ability of skill sometimes turn around the park or the bad pass, everything like that. But unfortunately, right now, Iris struggle a little bit more since the beginning of November or second week on November, and it could be a problem. I think you nailed it with Whiteman. I think at some point, do you feel like they will need to call up Justin Barron at some point to give him some reps in the NHL? I don't know, like January or something like that, where you said Whiteman will have to get out of the lineup.
Well, I think yeah, it would only be fair to call up Barron to give him a chance, but he's not. He's not been, a standout in the AHL either. He's doing well, but nothing to write home about basically. And if I'm correct, I think he's injured right now. He didn't play last night, so for a while that's not a concern. But I think that yes, eventually they'll want to see what he can do at the highest level. I mean, he started well last year before that injury,
Yeah.
which is a shame, really. But he'll get his turn. I'm confident he'll get his turn. But for now, I see things staying as they are, except that Wildman will probably go down, so that they can carry an extra LT forward.
So the next one, still in the hot seat, is about Montembeau. About Montembeau, do you believe is it fair or not about the not the treatment? I don't see that like they are bad about this, but the way they use him or utilize him during the game, like every 2 3 game, or you honestly have an average of 1 game uh, per week. Honestly, I think he played what 8 game or 9 game. I
Uh,
I think he is. I think it's 5-1, I believe now. But it's actually him about 1 week. We have already did 8 weeks. So, do you believe they should play more him, or do you fair? Was it fair what they are doing, or not?
to be fair, I mean, if you're going on merit, I think he's earned the opportunity to play more. So what I would do is split the work down the middle. Just alternate the goalies, whatever happened, just alternate. It's worked for other teams. Why not do it for the Canadians? And like I said, I want to see what Montembeau can give. Jake Allen, they signed him to an extension for 2 years. We know he'll not be back after that. He'll probably be traded eventually, if not at this deadline, the next deadline. And you need to know what Montembeau can do. So yeah, I would give him more ice time, more starts. I think it's only fair. I mean, last year I had my reservation on Montembeau. I thought there was a definite consistency issue there, but in hindsight, it kind of looks like a lot of that was caused by his wrist injury. He got an operation this summer, he got surgery, and now that he's healthy, he's looking pretty darn good out there. So, yeah, I think he deserves to play more than he's playing right now, and I would just alternate the goaltenders. I wouldn't call one a starter and the other one the backup. I would just split the work down the middle. That's what I would do.
Yeah, definitely. We'll be interesting now. The schedule in Montreal is going to be really busy. Again, starting again Monday. They play a back-to-back game. After that, they go a couple of days off. But starting next Saturday, they have again another busy week, following week with Calgary and Ottawa back-to-back game. And then they're going to get Tampa Bay Lightning at the end of the week. So a couple of teams, I think, Montembeau for me, I feel like you're a little bit more sold at him to him like me. I want to see him again, the better team, to see honestly what he look like, and I think they treat him a little bit like another rookie. They protect him a lot. They don't want to lose him, and that would be interesting to see what he look like. But I want to see him again, the best team and the schedule, or what they look, everything like that. I'm worried about the honestly if I this is another subject. I never tell you about this, but do you believe Montreal Canadiens, honestly, they play like they should be at 12, 11, 1, or I'm completely me? I would said other things after that. You answer, but do you feel like they deserve to be 12, 11, 1?
Do they deserve to be? Uh, it's a tough question. I mean, I can tell you that they've exceeded my expectations so far this season, definitely. I thought that there were going to be a lot more growing pains on the defense and that it would cost games, which we haven't really seen. So yeah, you can't take this away from them. I mean, they've played the games, they got the results, so yeah, I guess they deserve to be where they are because they've put in the effort. I'm surprised that they are where they are. I didn't think they would be, and I thought they would be in the Connor Bedard sweepstake, but they're not. They're not bad enough to be in that position, and that's disappointing to some people, but I think it's good in the sense that these guys who are playing exceeding expectations right now, they're kind of building up their confidence right now. And they can see that everyone expected them to fail this season and to be really bad. But, they're out there and they're thinking, you know what? We're playing pretty darn well here. So we're building a good culture of winning, a good culture of if you work hard, you can get the results. And it's kudos to them really. And I'm not it doesn't make me panic that they won't draft that high come July if they carry on playing as they have, because you don't necessarily need to have two or three first overall picks in a short span of time to dominate. I mean, look at Edmonton. I mean, for years they had the first pick so often, but they always used it to just draft some attack, and it's not working. You need everything. You need every position, every type of play to make a team, to build a contender. And the team they've got in place, building this team, knows what it's doing. So I'm trusting the process. I mean, it would have been nice to draft a generational player like Connor Bedard, but if you can't get him, well, I'm all in with the Suzuki, Caulfield, Dak, and that young blue line has got me really excited, and I'm sure that in a deep draft like the one that's coming, we won't be disappointed with who they'll pick. But yeah,
Yeah, great answer. I think my question would be like, I would try to try like, I think they have a lot of I think the performance the goaltenders since beginning season changed a little bit the result who they are today. I think the first line changed a little bit the result where they are today, and their rookie performance in the beginning season they changed a little bit the result where they are today, but still they struggle a lot out front area, the power play, the high danger scoring chance, the shot again. They have a lot, and then they say, "Was so, oh my God!" At some point, they're going to get hit. They're going to get that fall apart because they cannot handle this part of that. Until there, they do this. I think you nailed it when you said the team effort. They're working hard and they're doing very well anyway. My point is like I think they play or maybe some luck they got to get 12, 11, 1 at some point. When I said luck, it's like because the three reasons I just mentioned to you, where they add, they deserve it. But I think at some point, if they cannot perform, they cannot continue to play 82 games the way they're doing right now because they would be exactly happening today, yesterday, and they cannot give too much shot, high danger scoring chance because the goaltender, they're not going to stop all the power they get right now. Unfortunately, in front of the net, they have too many concerns for me there. The red flag over there. Now, my question following that one, it was said to you, Karen, you opened the door a little bit. What do you see? I thought at the beginning of the year, I see them at the bottom five. 28, 29 was really my targeting for them, and lucky 27. Do you change your mind? Maybe your mind was maybe better, but for me, was this area. Do you see now them possibly to be 24, 25, 26, or not allow they're going to be back or below 27?
like I said, I don't think they're bad enough to be in the bottom five. I think we're looking more at a team that might be 22nd, 23rd at the end of the year if things carry on going the way they are, obviously. But they're not as bad as everyone thought they would be, even if they're carrying a lot of deadwood. I mean, wingers with big contracts that can't score. Um, they're still kind of getting it done, not getting it done enough to be, competing for a playoff spot, but getting it done enough not to be in the bottom five. So yeah, I think maybe 22nd, 21st wouldn't surprise me at the end of the year. Yeah.
One thing I agree with you. You're right. I don't think so. I see them anymore in bottom five, yeah, because your other team they are worse. What my expectation was, Sunday. I never thought Columbus going to be so low where they at right now. I never thought they're going to be that way over there. I
Yeah.
I never thought Montreal was going to be battled for get maybe 6, 7 spot in that kind of six division. Yeah, I feel like you're a little bit higher to me, more optimist at me at 22nd, 23rd. I see them about 25th, 26th is the best scenario for them at that moment. But we're going to see what turnaround for them because honestly, the injuries could be a kick measure. You know what I mean? If you lose Zuski, Caulfield, we don't want that. But if he miss a big piece of the puzzle out, that changes completely the scenario. We just talked about this, but it would be really interesting what they're going to do for the rest of the December because big games coming in front of them. But they play better and return like that. During the time he was out here, I think he was not there. I could be wrong. Do you remember I asked you this question? Montreal Canadiens, are they focusing on the winning culture of winning or on the development on the development or it was a tanking. We know tank it was not honestly the good answer. But between winning of culture and the development, which one you believe they do, Martin Saint Louis?
Um, to be honest, I think he's juggling both admirably. He's doing
I
both
love
right
that one.
now. Well, I mean, the results are there, and he's really doing both. And I think that's why he's keeping that rotation system on D, because he wants to do development, but at the same time he decides who's in based on what's going to give him the best chance of winning. Because there's not a single coach out there who's going to go and say, yeah, we just want to learn this year, we don't want to win, I don't care. No one's going to say that. But yeah, I think he's juggling both at the same time, and kudos to him, because that's not easy to do. And if you just focus on development, you're gonna lose the room as well, because you've got defensemen, you've got veterans there that couldn't care less about development. These guys want to win. They're professional hockey players. They're there to win games, and that's what they want to do. So you need to keep them motivated, and for them to be motivated, you gotta feel that they're trying to build a winning culture out there. So yeah, they're doing both. I can't say they're doing one more than the other. I just can't.
Yeah, it's just his behavior for me showed to me he want to win most of the game. Like, winning culture is really important for him because he will sit like, the TOI for the rookie. So everything like that, he would protect more to try to win the game at some point for me. But so ever you absolutely right, the development is still there. He's so good on the practice, everything like that. So we have to give credit for that. We're going to move on to the next graphic. Karine, we're going to talk about some other thing we have for you guys. We know we talk about Slafkovsky, but we keep finishing your last question on the hot seat, so that will be good for you. But it's a big one because it's a big subject. I do add daily, like you write a lot. Me, I do video every single day, and the last couple of days, the subject was really about Monahan and the possibility of trade bait, everything like that. So my point to you today is this one over there. Who do you trade or not? Possibility, it's up to you. Sean Monahan, Joel Edmundson, and Josh Anderson. Do you trade one of them, two of them, three of them, or not at all? I just want you to get your perception of what the Montreal Canadiens you expect they will do with possibility Monahan, Edmundson, or Anderson. Maybe other players, but I think they are really the three targeting OM Montreal, because at some point Jake Allen could be in that conversation, but I don't think so. He go nowhere.
I'm probably not going to be very popular with that answer, but I would trade Sean Monahan for sure. For one reason and one reason only, is your best chance of getting a good return. I mean, the way he performed this year, he's proved to everyone that he's over those hip surgeries. And if he stays healthy, the Canadiens can get a really good return for him. I mean, I've read people who are saying online, well, they should sign him, keep him as a good center, blah, blah, blah. But you know what? You can trade him at the deadline and sign him as a free agent if you want to afterwards. I mean, we've seen it before. Okay, it wasn't with a player in the prime of his career, like, Thomas Plekanec was traded and then signed back the year after. This year, they didn't qualify Rem Pitlick because they felt that the amount of money was too much. But, he circled back, and when he couldn't get more money on the market, he came back as well. So if Monahan really likes Montreal and wants to come back, he'll be able to come back as a free agent in the summer. So yeah, I say you trade him, you maximize your return, and clearly the Habs brass is thinking that Doc will be the second line center in time. So you don't need to keep Monahan either. So yeah, you trade him. As for the other two, Joel and Manson.
Can you? I'm sorry to cut you because before you jump, I want to ask a question about Monahan. So
Okay,
I'll
yes,
give you
go
for the tell you that. Okay, if you sign him, or if you want to keep him and Monahan, and he leave, he come back, whatever it is, with negotiation with him, what would be your longevity of the contract, or what would be possible for Montreal to get a good deal with Monahan, if it's an agreement for both sides? But how you feel comfortable to keep Monahan and how long and the money?
How old is Monahan? Hang on a second. 28. He's not all that old. That's a good question, because obviously there's an injury history there, and oh god, I think I'd be willing to give him 4 years, a 4-year deal as a free agent if he comes back. Although, oh god, that might block that. Oh, this is tricky. I'm not Jeff Quinton. I'm not Kent Hughes. Why are you asking me that? Um,
That's called
but yeah,
outsee.
I like the guy. He's a good player, and that's why I think he can bring us back some assets. But yeah, I think if he was to want to come back 3 or 4 years, and you got to be really cost conscious because those young players who are doing so well right now, you're gonna need to pay them eventually. I mean, Caulfield's extension is gonna kick in next year. And then eventually on the blue line, you've got a lot of guys on entry level deals as well that you're going to need to pay. So you got to be really cost conscious. It's hard to put a ballpark figure on the money I'd give Monahan, to be honest, but it's going to be a lot less than, say, Suzuki and Caulfield. Because eventually, in time, even if you do bring him back, you want Dak to take over that second line center spot. So Monahan would drop down to third line. And, the Canadiens have made the mistakes of giving too much money to their third line players over the years with Marc Bergevin. So, that'd be a question for a shrewd negotiator Kent Hughes. He'd be the one to pinch every penny there. You got to be really cost conscious. I can't risk a figure, but yeah, if you do sign him, he's gonna have to be aware that it's not gonna be to be the man. It's just like a complementary piece.
Yeah.
So
First of all, you did very well, but I will give you other things because I like to compare. The best I can compare right now is Vincent Trocheck. He got a 7 years contract for the Rangers at 5.67. The point the last couple of years are more similar. Monahan, whatever he was hurt, but I think overall Monahan is better. Both of them are 29 years old. My concern about Monahan is like in hockey when you get 30 years old, 31 years old, the body start to fall apart. And I think for me, his health could be another problem. I never say it would be bad. I think if Montreal cannot sign him over 5 years, 4 years, 5 years, I think you should let him go. Because in 3 years, we're going to have a great center line in Montreal, Doc, Beck, and the rest who he can pick on the prospect after that. So I would be really concerned about Monahan for me. And he will not get at least, I'm sure on the market, you're going to get 5 and 5. And I think it's too long for the Montreal Canadiens. With all the respect, I know the people like him, but I think they should let him go for me because the money would not be. And we have too many players like Anderson and Gallagher right now with those kind of big contract, and it could be a long term by the Montreal Canadiens, a long term for the Montreal in the future.
yeah, no, I agree with you. I think you can't
And
commit
one
for too
player did
long.
not talk about this in the equation, Karen, says they were racked between everybody else.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you have him, right? You know what I mean? Like you need him at 4 point something. I believe. That's my other concern, everything like that. So anyhow, it was the first one. Now you want to concern with Jordan Manson. We have a couple of more minutes. So Jordan Manson or Josh Anderson or one both of them, whatever it is, what would be your answer?
Joel Edmondson, I'm not sure. I don't think they will move him. I think they might move another veteran defenseman, more like David Savard, because David Savard is Quebecer. Okay, anyway, yeah, I'm not sure Edmondson's gonna move because they did give him an A, and when they did that, they said that they wanted to have some stability on the blue line, some guiding leadership for the kids. We're gonna be in and out of the lineup, so I think Edmondson is really important, and that locker room is important to the culture they're trying to build. So I don't think they will trade him. As for Anderson, uh, the problem there is the consistency issue. I mean, sometimes it can be great, but other times it disappears. So I'm not sure they'll get any kind of significant return unless it goes on a tear and then lights up the scoreboard. But I'm not sure if that's gonna happen because he's got a fairly big contract as well. So the team that would come knocking for him, they would be very aware of that, very aware of the time and money commitment that comes with taking on Josh Anderson's contract. So I'm not
You
sure it's going to be worth it.
You're absolutely right
Yeah.
about that. I think I feel good. I feel the same way. Now, the only way Edmonton can get out right now is they have a lot of big asset and return. Does it make sense? Like yeah, a first round pick and something major. Otherwise, they keep him. I think Edmondson will be really good 1 year later next year when he's going to have a UFA at the end of the year. We have a team looking for and then the 23 would be past the draft because nobody want to trade. I think they'll be get something better and stronger. And he's really maybe he's maybe the best leadership inside of that organization for Montreal Canadiens. He run a lot of things with nobody talk about, like the music. He's really in the inside the locker room, everything like that. So I think he's major about that. Josh Anderson, I think he have to go. And I think he's going to get something good whatsoever. I think it's they have to open up more money, and I don't fit. He has something we don't see. Maybe Karine follow. Maybe you can look about this. The relationship is not one of the great between Martin St. Louis and Josh Anderson.
Um, yeah, I think you could be right on that one because it took quite a lot of time before Josh Anderson actually got power play time this year.
Yeah.
Even though they were using 5 forwards on the first one and only one defenseman on the second unit, it took a lot of time before he got some power play time. So I'm not sure he's crazy over his usage. However, when Marty Saint-Louis came in, he was one of the most impressed players with the new coach. The speech he gave at the start of his tenure, I read Pierre Gervais' book last week, I think, and he was speaking in detail of Martin Saint-Louis' speech when he took over the team, and he said Josh Anderson was actually, his jaw dropped, and he just said, wow, at the end of the speech. So, he's impressed by the man, but I'm not sure he's impressed with the usage that he's making of him, but we'll see.
Yeah, we saw the trade line look like. I want to finish the show because Team Canada are going to, because we talk about Shane Wright and Slafkovsky. Team Canada start their training camp December 8 or 9. And this is about the lineup they showed to us this week. And then you can see a couple of red name because there are 3 players right now. They are in NHL. Guenther with Arizona, Johnson with the Dallas Star, and then you have Shane Wright with Arizona with the Seattle Kraken. Are possibly to be a part of this lineup for the Team Canada. So what the reason we don't talk about this because the Montreal Canadiens have a couple of players for Team Canada of the 2023 is 3 players Roy, Kidney, and Beck. Kidney, Roy was part of the team summer for Team Canada, who played almost a top 6 over there, and Kidney was the 3rd extra forward. Beck was not part of this one over there. Beck is got invited to go to training camp, by the way, but the people asking me about Logan Mailloux is not part of this selection for the Montreal for the Team Canada. But my point to you, what do you feel about Team Canada? Do you feel like it's rare Montreal brings some prospect in Team Canada in the last 10 years?
You've just said that Owen Beck got an invite to training camp. I mean, from what we've seen from the kid coming to a training camp, if he wants to make that team, he's gonna make that team. I mean, he was the shining star of the this year's camp in Montreal, and he earned himself an entry-level contract right off the bat, which most people didn't think would happen. And this season with Mississauga, he's actually got 29 points in 22 games. And so I'm really confident that, if he turns it on, he can make that team. And I hope he does make it because it would be a great experience from him. Of course, time will tell, but I hope he makes it. As for Logan Mailloux, is playing well too, but, with the whole Team Canada scandals that have come to the surface, Mailloux is kind of radioactive for them because of his past. So yeah, I'm not surprised he's not part of that conversation, really.
Yeah, I'm sorry about this. I think I would bring you back the board right now. I think the key for him is Wyatt Johnson. Wyatt Johnson guy doing very well with the Dallas Star right now. Have a couple of good game over there. But you have a chance right now. Dane and Otemchuk, they did once on the summer, but I think Oren Beck could become an important play role on the two ways. Because you think about this, Bedau is not the same kind of player. I think Austin Chuck is the only one close to be a two-way center. Maybe Shane Wright, if he played with Team Canada, could be another one. But it would be interesting, the part of the Owen Beck. I think if Team Canada can push, I think they should select Karine Owen Beck for the upcoming season, for the upcoming World Junior Championship. And finally, this many other prospects going to be a part of this. We know Philip Mazar will be with Slovakia. That's a one. Vincent Rohrer going to be Austria. You have Engstrom with the team Sweden, a defenseman. He's doing really, really well. I'm looking forward for him to play at the World Junior Championship. And we have Finland, Kapanen for Finland. I think so. I don't know if Nurmi can play or not. Petri Nurmi or not. That's another one. I cannot remember if he's age out or not. I think he is, but I could be wrong about that one over there. That's pretty much maybe if I forget one, maybe Lane Hudson, maybe with Team USA.
Yeah.
He
That
didn't
should be
make it this
interesting.
summer, by the way.
Well,
I
maybe,
understand.
but he's had a good start of his season in the NCAA as well, so it'll be one to watch. He could make it. We'll see.
You're absolutely right. And then you forgot Sean Farrell.
Yeah, true.
That's another one over
Another.
there about that one over there. So let's finishing the show. I forgot to go that way over there. We do all the time at the end. Karen, you know that is the preview of the week. Montreal Canadiens or the week number 9 now. They play a Monday night against Vancouver. Guys, the game is at 10:30 p.m. And then we play Tuesday back-to-back game against the Seattle Kraken. They lost their streak against the Panthers yesterday, unfortunately for them. And then the Los Angeles King, they play at home at the Bell Center. They have 4 days off when they come back for the West Coast for the Montreal Canadiens. What do you expect for them for Montreal next week against Vancouver, Seattle Kraken, and the LA Kings?
I think I'm gonna go 1-1-1 this week. I think they'll win against Vancouver because Vancouver's having a really tough time this year, and they've lost Thatcher Demko as well for 6 weeks, so that's not gonna help. Seattle surprisingly is fifth in the league right now, so yeah, I think they'll lose that one, and then perhaps a no-T loss against the Kings. That's my bet for this week.
Yeah, that's pretty good. I think it was close to you, but I will go 1-2 this week. They don't play well at home, and then I will be a little bit concerned about the Kings. And then if you didn't watch, I don't know how many times you watched the Seattle Kraken this season. Did you watch them a lot or not a lot? Or
I have a chance now.
I watched them and they are impressive. Like I'm being honest with you, after the Devils, that's maybe my top best 3 team after the Devils this season. The transition, their speed. Matthew Bernier is unbelievable for them. They can score a lot of goals. We know they win the 9-8, but it's a really a fun team to watch. A lot of people talk about the Devils, the way they play, everything. The Kraken guys, they are fun to watch. They are really excited the team over there, and it's good for them, by the way. But it's not going to be easy for Montreal over there. But Vancouver could be a good matchup for Vancouver. Again, Vancouver with last Damco. We're going to follow up with his situation over there. And the King, a consistency. That's the key, the problem with the Kings. They know they send down Peterson, everything like that. And but unfortunately, that's happening for the Montreal Canadiens. So that week, Karen, that will conclude, honestly, the show for the week of that. Without Marco, hopefully he's going to feel better for next week. I don't know if his schedule is open for next week. But other than the 3-result game this week, are you looking for a specific thing this week, like, players or something you really a bit more focusing? I know you write a lot during the week, but you have something you want, you really a little bit more pay attention. We are already at the second week of December.
I'm gonna be paying attention to how Jordan Harris bounces back because he's had a tough time of late with the rotation and all that, and I want to see how he bounces back from that. I'm gonna keep my eye on Harris, and of course on Slafkovsky's ice time and line mates. That's the big question for me.
Yeah, absolutely about this. I will add Montembo with the equation about this. We have so right. I don't know if how many times you're watching. I know you maybe one day you may be close to go to the press conference or anything like that, but I just love to listening Jordan Harris. You have a I don't know. I think his voice could be good for the cartoon TV show. I don't know, but he's so he is so smart. This kid is smart. Like he's really good, and he's just calm, and I don't know. I love to hear him talking on all the time, and he's always positive, and he's just look like a really good, you get a good human being and a good teammate. We know he was the captain for Northeastern, but if you watch, I don't know, but I love how you talk about this. I don't know. He could be a really good voice on the cartoon movie, maybe his second career. Who knows about that one with there, Karen?
Who knows? We'll see.
What's happening about this? Again, let's conclude Ab Brunch, your Sunday rendezvous. Don't forget to come back next week. Until then, we invite you. Don't forget, please click on the likes, sharing this video, of course, and then give us some comments. We will always to listen and watching what you said about the show. Maybe you have some specific question you want to ask to Karine or Marco or myself. Send us an email or just send a comment. We're going to follow up this and we're going to talk about your questions the following week. So it's easy, you know how to reach us. And that's conclude another great show. Karine, you survive again. I know you struggle a bit with your voice. I thought you're going to take a little bit more water at some point, but glad to have you aboard. Thanks for your effort to be with us today. And I can wait to see you possibly next week. And we want to thank you so much. Hopefully, Marco will feel better, by the way, to see him, Marco, next week. And we'll be back as a trio. We miss always someone on the first line right now, but hopefully both of you will be back next week.
Yeah, I hope so. It was fun to be back. Thanks.
Thank you so much, everybody. Have an amazing, great week. Here we go. Have an amazing, great one, everybody.